Hello and welcome to this episode of the Red Laugh Riot podcast. I believe this is episode 7. I'm Matt.
And I'm Ben. The first segment is called Reading the Headlines. It's where we go to the top of Reddit, look at the highest voted posts from this week, and read some headlines, and then talk about them. I don't know if this one counts. It doesn't really. Oh, by the way, I just want to say, if you're listening live, you can play along and go to Reddit, go sort by top from this week on all, and you can see what I'm looking at, which makes this experience funny because this one's just a photo, and it's of. It's not news at all, but it's a photo of a guy that's face swapped his dog and his cat, and it looks so like legit. So it's a dog with a cat's face and a cat with a dog's face.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I mean, it's not really news, but it's just. I kind of had to read that one out because it's so hilarious. Oh, this one's good. This is from Awe, and that's kids sing happy birthday with sign language for their deaf custodian. This is almost exactly the same as last week, except
Yeah.
this time he's deaf, and
Yeah.
like, these
And
things
they
must
did
be
it in.
staged or something. Nah, that's legit. That's cool.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
that's really. Yeah.
you see the moment of realization when he realizes what they're singing. Is that like in
Yeah.
sign language? Oh, it's brilliant.
Oh, man, you get I said it. I said it last week, and I'll say it again. It's lovely when you hear like the more feel good stories, eh? Because like you look at the news normally, right, and it's like war and devastation here, and like some politics thing that's going on in the world as well that's bad, climate change, and all this other stuff. And then you get stories
Yeah,
like this, and it kind of just reminds you that the world isn't all bad. And that's good.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's cute.
uh, yeah, I've just sent
It's
Matt
so
the
legit.
the face swap photo.
Yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts on on
The
the
happy birthday thing.
the janitor? Yeah, and the
Yeah,
sign language.
it's
Sort of
it's
similar thoughts to me.
yeah, I'm almost exactly the same as what happened last week. Yeah, it's awesome.
What's the next headline you got there?
This is a video of some security footage of some like I can't tell what kind of store it is, but there's some like robbers like coming into the store, and this guy, the store owner or the clerk or whatever, fights them off with a bong, like using it as like a bat, and they just run out.
That's funny.
You guys at home need to bring this up on Reddit. They're like
Yeah, because
spraying
then
him
you
with this. I don't even know what it is, and then he just brings out this bong, just like whacks him with it.
That's amazing. That's
one of
brilliant.
the one of the robbers throws like a chili bin or something. This is hilarious.
So it's like a proper bong. It's not like a
It's
handmade.
hard to tell, but I assume so.
Because if it's like a proper one, right? Then that's probably like made out of like glass or something,
Yeah, yeah, it looks like it's made of glass. Yeah.
which would be a very good weapon. Like those memes that are like whatever you have to your left is your weapon in a
Yeah.
zombie apocalypse. Or instead of the zombie apocalypse thing, you change the meme slightly to something like sort of the same thing except instead of zombie apocalypse, it's like two robbers are trying to rob you. Whatever's to your left is your weapon.
Oh man, all the headlines today are just hilariously um, lovely. So this one is a video. What's a GIF of a video of a lot of visual ones today Oh, oh, it's hilarious. I'll just read it out. I'm not allowed a dog, so my neighbors built a window into my yard so I can pet theirs. So it's literally like a hole in the fence. They literally cut a square
Yeah.
hole in the fence, and the dog like jumps up and like sticks its head through the hole so the guy can pet the dog.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
if you're listening to the podcast after the fact, this kind of sounds lame because you can't see what's going on. So you should listen live next time and tune in, and then go to Reddit and look at these yourself so you can see what I'm looking at.
Yeah, we
Um,
our normal day is on Saturdays. And usually
10 to 10:30 in the morning, New Zealand time. That is.
yes, we are
Yeah.
referring to New Zealand time.
All right.
Um,
I think that's enough cuteness for today.
yeah, yeah. So that means we move on to our next segment. This segment is called Top Five. And we sort of make our own top five lists every week. It's on a different topic. Since it's taken from the film High Fidelity, where occasionally there's a top five list during that film. Yeah, so today's list is about fast food. All right, how about I'll go first, and then you can, and then you go, and then we'll go like that. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
sweet. All right. So so let's get straight into it. My number five pick is Subway. Subway's pretty
Uh-huh.
good. I like Subway as a fast food option because it's probably the most healthy option of all the fast foods, eh? So like that's sort of what I like about it. Also, they have the best cookies as well. It's fantastic.
Mm.
Subway cookies
Yeah.
are absolute mint. That's why it hits my number five.
Did you
Yeah.
see? Did you see when they used to do cookie pies?
What's a cookie pie?
Yeah, it's literally like just like three cookies stacked on top of each other, and it makes this delicious pie thing. Oh, it's
Yeah.
hilarious. Um, what I hilarious, delicious is what I mean, not hilarious. um, it's delicious because it's like so soft on the inside. It's amazing. But basically, it's literally they just get the uncooked cookies and they stick three of them together and then cook that. It's like this pie thing. Um,
Oh wow.
and yeah, I think I've only had one ever because they stopped doing them because somebody stupidly made a cookie which was like a normal like I don't know what kind of cookie on the top and bottom, and a nut flavored cookie in the middle, and so basically it had concealed nuts in it, and somebody who was allergic to nuts had that cookie and like had a reaction,
Oh
and because they
no.
had that, Subway's like, nah, we're not doing it anymore, shut it down, so they don't do cookie pies at all anymore, which is really just completely stupid and just like so reactive to just trying to please the public because they made a mistake instead of saying we'll enforce the rule that all cookies must be of the same flavor in a cookie pie. I mean, to, so that that
Yeah.
concealed nut thing doesn't happen. To be honest, people who are allergic to nuts aren't even meant to eat chocolate or anything, so I don't even know what kind of cookie they were thinking they were eating. There might be cookies that don't have chocolate. I don't know. I only get the chocolate
Right.
ones, so it's because it's not the same to just buy three cookies. Cookie pie.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
whole. It's a whole new experience.
It's a, it's a
Um,
different ball game. So what's your number five pick, Ben?
my number five. It's McDonald's.
Oh,
Because it's
okay.
the classic. It's kind of like the versatile. It's the everyone can enjoy McDonald's. It's one of those things I always enjoyed heaps as a kid. Uh, McDonald's was like the I don't know the special something the special fast food place. It's where you go for some sort of special event or whatever. And now it's just like whenever you need something cheap. But it's always good.
Yeah.
Like I have McDonald's every time I go to the airport because it's like the only place to eat there that's like I think that's literally the only like there's like a not a dumpling like a noodle place next door or something. Uh, and there's some like overpriced cafe and there's a Dunkin' Donuts. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, McDonald's is really the only place in the domestic terminal anyway that you can get like a meal that doesn't suck, uh, and isn't overpriced. So I get that every time. Get myself a double McChicken. Love me some of that. Yeah, not much else to say. I think the McDonald's fries are the best fast food fries for sure. Like I've like tried like KFC and Burger King ones. They're not that. I mean, they're fine. They're just not as good.
Yeah, I'd say Macca's has the best fries for sure.
Yeah.
Out of all the fast food restaurants, I reckon Macca's has the best. Moving on to my number four. My number four is probably something that Ben hasn't heard of, nor many listeners have heard of. And that's because they're actually not in New Zealand. They're in Aussie.
Great.
And so yeah, and so for a bit of an international flavor, one may say. Um, the brand's called like I'm pretty sure it's called PJs Chips, or just PJ. Most of the time, people just call them PJs. Um, and so yeah, they're like a fish and chip shop. Um, and so they're really good because they have like absolutely quality chips, mate. Quality chips, I'm telling you. Better than Macca's chips, I know. Big call, but they're better than
Yeah.
Macca's chips. Yeah, so really good chips. And so whenever I'm over back in Aussie, because that's where some of my family's from, majority of the time we end up going to PJ's Chips. It's brilliant, and I love it. It's fantastic. So yeah, my number four pick is PJ's Chips.
Is there lots of them, or is it just like a one store?
Um, I'm not. I think there's only one of them.
Where is
I
it?
want to say. It's in rural Australia. Um,
I see. So it's not
in
like a fast food chain. It's just
Young.
like it's a single shop.
Yeah, I don't think it's a chain, but I may be wrong.
Well, if I'm ever in the very specific location of rural Australia, I'll be sure to check
Yeah,
out PJ's Chips.
it's in Young, town called
I,
Young. It's about 3 hours out of Sydney.
that
Shout
sounds
out
like a
to
three
Young,
hour
by the
drive
way.
that is going to be worth. I'd drive 3 hours for chips. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm,
it's good, okay?
I'm
They're
sure they
good.
are.
They're good chips, mate.
They're going to be pretty damn good to be
You
higher
can
on your list than like. Oh, I guess it's only number four.
you
But
can
yeah. All right. My number four is more general. It's more general because it's not a specific chain that I love the best. There's, it's just like in general, like gourmet style burgers. So that's like Burger
okay.
Fuel, Velvet Burger, Wisconsin, those places. I just love
Yeah.
me a good, decent, like kind of gourmet burger. Although there's one place in Queenstown called Ferg Burger that like do like giant ones. So like 3 times the size of a normal burger. That's probably the best place you'll ever get them, just because of how huge they are. But like any of those gourmet burger places, I really enjoy. That's number four for me.
All right. We're going quickly through them. Yeah, I love me a good gourmet burger, whether it be from Burger or Burger Wisconsin or Burger Fuel. There's a
A lot of them, a
lot
lot
of
of
good
places.
quality burger places. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, they're all good. Similar vein to that, I believe. For my number three pick is Carl's Jr. Love me some Carl's Jr. I actually don't have Carl's Jr. very often. But when I do, it's always an experience. Really like their
Right.
burgers over there. Um, yeah, no, just really good. Also, their shakes, are really good as well. Their milkshakes are really good. Um,
I've only had Carl's Jr. once. I don't remember it being
yeah,
anything for that fantastic. It just felt like another bit. It felt kind of like
right.
KFC or something like that.
Nah, man, it's better than KFC. That's for sure.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah. I'm not a huge fan of KFC burgers.
yeah. So that's my number three pick, Carl's Jr. What's your number
Cool.
three pick? Yeah,
Um,
Ben.
man, we're firing through this, aren't we? It's,
Yes, we are. We're firing through. It's quick. It's quick, mate. It's
yeah.
a lightning round.
Well, it is fast food after all, so you're gonna talk about it fast.
Exa- Very
I mean,
true. Very true.
how long can you talk about food for? I mean, realistically, like
Yeah.
it's hard. It's you like certain food and that's it. But next on my
Yeah.
list is another. It's not completely generic. It's Pizza Hut / Domino's. So that cheap
Okay.
pizza which I think they're the only two
Yeah.
places that do that kind of thing. And it's a favorite for me because it's cheap and you get a lot of bang for your buck. You get, a decent meal, and you get that thick crust as well for, no extra cost. Um, I used to be a huge Pizza Hut fan. I used to much prefer Pizza Hut over Domino's because Domino's always get my order wrong. In fact, I think literally every time I've ordered Domino's and asked for like some aioli, unless the aioli cost extra because it used to cost extra, but now it's free. Every time since it being free, I've asked for aioli. They've never put it on. For some reason, they
Oh
just forget
wow.
every time. It's ridiculous.
Oh.
That's why I always preferred Pizza Hut. But now, since a few months ago, Pizza Hut put up their prices to like $6 instead of 5, and it's like 50 cents for the aioli. And now Domino's aioli is free. I'm actually thinking of kind of switching over to Domino's as being my regular. I mean, I guess it depends just what's nearby. Maybe I'll just choose whatever's nearby. But if I had the choice, I'd probably go Domino's now. And also, I discovered recently they can do butter chicken sauce for free as well. And I've tried that. And
Yeah.
Matt had some of that as well, and that was really good, I think.
Yeah.
And now I'm just hungry.
Very good.
Why'd you get me talking? I shouldn't have done this. Now I'm hungry and I haven't had breakfast.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat, man. I haven't had breakfast either. That's why we're doing it fast, mate. So then the podcast will go faster. Then we can finish the podcast and then we can go get lunch. All right. Without any further ado, my number 2 pick is Burger King. Love me some
Really?
Burger King.
Okay.
Here's the thing with like Burger King versus sort of like Carl's Jr. and that, right? Carl's Jr.'s, right? My experience, very hard to find, right?
Right, yeah, there's like
Burger
4 of them in
King's,
the country. Yeah.
yeah, less hard to find, right? So therefore more likely to go to BK. Also, pretty sure BK's cheaper. Um,
Yeah, yeah, much cheaper.
so I like Burger King. Obviously, I reckon obviously they do burgers. They do them well.
Yeah.
So I don't mind Burger King at all. Yeah, I know. I don't know what else to say about it. I like Burger King.
I I
Um,
I'm I the only reason I go to Burger King is because they have that app where you have really good deals, like those coupons. Like you get the two
yeah,
BK chickens and 2 fries for $9.50 or something. Like it's a really good deal.
mm,
That's the only reason I go to BK, just because of the value. I actually don't
yeah,
love the burgers that much. They're kind of like it's kind of just like I feel like I'm just stuffing myself. Like I don't know, like it doesn't taste as good as McDonald's burger. Like I love a McDonald's burger much more over a BK. But then of course BK is still better than KFC, which I mean to me at least the burgers at KFC are like it's this weird texture in the dough I think that puts me off. Kind of
yeah.
like gooey and like feels old. Doesn't feel fresh. Doesn't feel crispy. Like a McDonald's burger does. All right, my number 2 then is Subway. Yeah, it's I think I've always enjoyed it the most out of most fast food chains anyway. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because I enjoy getting that chicken fillet sandwich. It's always been a fave. I don't know
Hey,
why.
chicken
Yeah,
fillet's my favorite too, man.
yeah, nice. It's pretty much the only thing. And
Love me a
occasionally I
chicken
get a
fillet.
meatball if I want it to be cheaper.
Same meatballs as well as my other pet. Oh, I love it.
Not much else to say about Subway. It's just a good time. I think there's slightly better value than McDonald's. I think because you'll pay a little bit more, especially if you're getting the chicken classic, though, which is one of the most expensive ones. But you get filled up a lot more. You get about like your sandwich is about twice or 3 times the size if you get a foot long. That is of a
Mm.
McDonald's burger. So and you get the cookies as well. The cookies are great. So yeah,
My two straight. Oh, Ben, do you have any honorable mentions or no?
yeah, I do.
You do? I don't have honorable mentions, so I'll let
Okay,
you go with your honorable mentions first.
my first honorable mention. I don't know if it counts as fast food, but I mean it's food that you get fast, and it's Krispy Kreme glazed donuts, specifically the glazed donuts. Anything else like the fancy looking ones, and no, not really that good. But it's all the way in like
Right.
Manukau, so I've got it once because I had a friend who worked in Manukau and he brought some for me. But I think they're opening a new store in town somewhere. So
Ooh.
when that's open, I'm sure I'll head by at some point. My other ones are dumplings. Basically, any dumplings are all really awesome. And Noodle Canteen slash Noodle Union. I don't know the difference between those two. They're like the exact same restaurant with a different name. Um,
Hmm.
but I also have one dishonorable mention, and I have to say this:
Oh,
uh, Sal's Pizza is like one of the most terrible pizza places. I think like they're not
I
ter- they're
agree.
not they're not terrible, horrible, disgusting pizza, but they're not worth any amount of money. The amount of money they ask you for, they're so expensive, and it's literally just it's like a slab of oil. Like it's literally that's all it is. Um, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't. It wouldn't be fair of me to dishonor Sal's without providing you with an alternative. Um, and there is an independent alternative in Christchurch called Alligator Pizza. It's at Riccarton Mall. It's just across the road from Soyo, I think. What's around there? It's near the yeah. Anyway, around there, you'll find it. I'm sure you probably have heard of it if you live in Christchurch. Maybe I don't know, but it's a really good pizza place, and it's kind of that big giant pizza style, but there's actually lots of flavor on it, and they have different flavors, and there's it's actually tastes interesting, and it's not just that slab of salt and oil. So if you're ever in Christchurch, don't skip out on alligator pizza. It's a good time. I've only had it once because I don't live in Christchurch, but I would last time I went down, I got some, and I'm sure I will next time as well. So I had to shout that one out.
All right. So my number one gets this spot mainly because of what it stands for. All right. And what it stands for is family and memories. You know, memories with family, memories with friends, right? Going out on the infamous Macca's run, right? So obviously
Oh
number one,
yeah.
Macca's. Um,
Okay.
so obviously, like I mentioned before, have the best fries. I would argue. Um, burgers are pretty good. Also like their chicken McBites, quality. Yeah. Um, so I like Macca's for all those reasons. I also like it because Macca's run, mate, is an absolute staple of a night out, right?
Yeah.
You go out, go to the club, right, with your mates, right? You knock a few back. You probably had prees already, right? And then you rock up at the end of the night to Macca's and get a nice good meal, and then you go home and fall asleep and then wake up with a hangover. Um, but it's all worth it because you had a good meal. You went for the Macca's run. There's nothing like a late night Macca's run. So my number one, Macca's. Should say, we at Red Laugh Riot do not condone heavy drinking. Please drink responsibly and only drink if you're of age. Whether that be
Absolutely.
18 if you're in New Zealand or 21 if you're in America or wherever the drinking age is.
Do you think I mean, let's just go on a tangent here. What do you think of the drinking age in the states being 21? Does it seem a bit high to you?
Yeah, it's way too high, I reckon.
Yeah, it's weird. It's because like you can do so many other things when you're 18, but not drink alcohol. Like it's crazy.
Exactly. You can sign up for the military and go to war, but you can't
Yeah,
get a drink. And
yeah.
that's just so messed up. All right, Ben, what's your number one?
Um, my number one is it's another one like I guess along with your lines of like the kind of family tradition kind of thing, and that's just classic fish and chips. Because at home we always got fish and chips every week, and it was I don't know if it's sad to say, but it was my favorite part of that day. That's what I looked forward to the most, and it was always the most disappointing thing when like either mum had forgot that and like started cooking dinner, or like we had people around, so she wanted to cook a meal, and it was just like, oh, like because I always was so
And I
excited for
want
fish
fish
and
and
chips,
chips, Mum.
and I have to rant because one of my favorite things to get from fish and chips was a jam wrap, which if you don't know is like this jelly donut thing. It's like it's like this long kind of donut that's like deep fried and cooked in sugar, wrapped in sugar, and filled with jam in the middle. And it was just like one of the most delicious things. And there were also some places that did what's called a jam wrap explosion, which is where they chuck a Whitaker's stick of chocolate inside, and the chocolate melts inside the. Oh, it's just and it's fantastic. It's one of the best things ever. And I also have to say, any place that does lemon pepper on their chips, I will absolutely go for. Lemon pepper on your fish and chips is the best thing ever. But sadly, the jam wrap thing, I haven't found a single place in Auckland that does jam wraps, and apparently it's just like a South Island thing. Maybe it's real weird because like they do everyone does like deep fried from Moro bars, but like they're not really that good. I think they're just a bit sickly. Um, Not like the
Okay.
delicious jam wraps, which I hold very dear. Um,
Yeah.
there's also one there was one place in Hamner Springs, which is in the South Island. It's quite a popular tourist slash holiday destination. And that place was called Captain Mike's, and it was there for years. I don't know how long. And it was the best place to go for fish and chips in Hamner. Probably all of the South Island, even all of New Zealand. I'm going to say that right now. It's the best fish and chip shop. They did the best chips. They did lemon pepper. They did chicken salt. They did whatever you want, and they also did um, deep fried cookie times, and it was legitimately
Oh
the
wow.
best thing I've ever eaten. Um, it's it's just I can't describe how delicious it is. It's like a battered cookie time, deep fried, and you just dig into it and it just melts in your mouth. It's just the most delicious, sweetest thing ever. Um, but very very sadly, they shut down for I don't actually know
Oh
what reason
no.
exactly. I mean, they were a family business, and maybe they just decided to sell, or maybe something happened to the family. I don't actually know. And now it's been replaced with like a really generic fish and chip shop, and they don't do the deep fried cookie times. And I'm pretty sure that's one of the only places in the world that would do deep fried cookie times. I've never seen that anywhere else, um, and it's really sad because it's just an average Joe place now. It's not the classic Captain Mike's. So R.I.P. Captain Mike's. Um, it was a good one.
So now we're going straight into our next topic. Um, I can't believe, also, just before we go into our main topic, right? I
Yeah.
can't believe in my rant against America, I didn't mention the whole drinking age at 21 thing. How
All right.
how did I miss that? Like, yeah, okay, so it doesn't make sense. It's because it's like 21, right? But at 18 you can vote. So you can vote but you can't drink. You can join the military but you can't drink. You can I don't know what else you can do at 18. You can have sex but you can't drink.
Yeah.
It just doesn't
It's a
it
bit
doesn't make
ridiculous.
sense. It's not logical. Anyway, that's my mini rant over my Matt uh, rants about America part 2. Um Wait for part 3 coming out soon, people. Um yeah, but big thing in the news lately, and this is sort of our main topic. Canada became just the second country in the world to fully legalize marijuana for recreational purposes. Um,
What was the first country?
First country was Uruguay, believe it or not.
Okay.
And that was in 2013, I want to say 2013, 2015. Um, yeah. So Canada, yeah, because people, sort of think when they think like marijuana legalization and stuff, your mind probably goes to Amsterdam in the Netherlands, but they have very like weird laws about it, and this is sort of the first. Canada and Uruguay are the first countries to sort of legalize it for every sort of thing, from like you can grow your own, you can buy it, you can sort of do whatever you want with it. Ben, what's your thoughts on this? Is this a policy you
Um,
agree with or not?
I don't know. I don't care that much, really. As
Right.
long as you police it in the same way you police alcohol usage, I think.
Yeah.
I don't have that much of a problem with it. I think an interesting point to make um, is that I've heard some people say this online that like uh, the use of alcohol. A lot of people think that like if alcohol was a new drug that had only just been introduced, recently, if we'd only just discovered it,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be allowed. Like people
Yeah.
like because it's like it's just it's another um, quite dangerous drug if abused, you know.
Mm.
And so a lot of people kind of think that we'd never allow that. So then why should we allow marijuana? So I think it's a fair point to make. But then of course you can't just
Yeah.
it's kind of but then it's also like well if alcohol we can't kind of just suddenly make it illegal because then the problem would only get worse really. I think the problem is
Yeah.
often worse when the drug is illegal. Um,
Exactly.
yeah, because and then
Yeah.
it's
I
like
mean,
unfair treatment. Like, why would you allow alcohol, which is just as bad, almost? You know.
yeah. We should preface this discussion with the disclaimer. Once again, we don't condone drug use, but shrugs shoulders. You can't see me, but just we don't condone it, but yeah. Um, so this is a topic that I've done a lot of research in, and it's a policy that I do support. Um, and that's because of the evidence that I've like read and watched in that. So Ben, you mentioned the whole alcohol thing, right? And sort of the double standard between alcohol and marijuana, especially. Um,
Mm,
and that's a point that I almost always raise. Yeah, so you've got alcohol, which is legal, but has been proven time and time again to be much more dangerous than marijuana, right?
right.
So why isn't alcohol illegal and marijuana is, right? So the argument is that, and we've seen what happens if we try and make alcohol illegal, right? With prohibition over in the states in like the 1920s, I want to say. It was an absolute abysmal failure. Just everything like usage went up, crime went up, everything basically went up, and it actually became more dangerous because people were brewing their own stuff.
Mm,
So that was what was happening with alcohol, and with marijuana, it's something. The thing with drugs, right, is people are going to use drugs no matter what, right?
yeah. Yeah.
People go out, they use drugs. So why do we treat something that also why do we treat something that's a health concern as a legal concern, right? We like take addicts and we throw them into prison, and that doesn't make any sense
Right.
whatsoever
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
me. You know what I mean? Um, we should be helping. We should be helping addicts, to getting help, and so then they can live like normal, happy lives, right? Help them get into a job, get their life stable, and then because by throwing them into prison for 3 years or whatever, right? They get thrown into prison. They have a drug charge, right? They come out of prison. They can't get a job because they have a charge. So they can't get a job, and therefore they just turn back to drugs, obviously,
Yeah.
because drugs is like an escape, right? Like everyone in the world has that thing that they turn to, right? When like you feel bad, right? Whether that be movies or
Yeah.
music or whatever. For some people, unfortunately, it ends up being drugs. Now, with marijuana and alcohol, like you can use drugs and not be an addict. Like everyone who drinks isn't an alcoholic,
Right. Yeah.
right?
Of course.
Like everyone, yeah. So everyone who drinks isn't an alcoholic. Same thing with marijuana. Everyone who smokes marijuana, isn't a complete druggo. In fact, a lot of like normal people smoke marijuana. So it's just a thing that it's like it's something that I believe should be legal, and I think Canada's done the right thing with legalizing it and sort of modernizing these drug laws that have been 100 years old, and have just proven time and time again not to work. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't stop anything from happening. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see the reason of I don't understand the argument against it because all the evidence points to legalization. But yeah, I do agree with you though with the whole thing. It should be policed like alcohol, so you shouldn't drive under the influence. So release campaigns about that. I mean, I think our generation personally is pretty good on the whole drink driving thing. Like I've been in
Okay.
situations with mates that like drinks. I've been I've been in situations with mates, and one of the guys is like, he's like about to leave, and we're like, "Are you driving?" And he's like, "Yeah, yeah." And then we're like, "No," and we've like tackled him to the ground and wrestled keys off him.
Oh,
You know,
really? Oh, well.
everyone looks after each other most of the
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
But like I think our generation is pretty good on that. Same thing with like cell phone use and cars. Like I look around when I see people, on their phones
yeah.
while driving, and it's usually like older generations. Like it's not like people from our generation, which I find very interesting. That was a bit of a tangent, but yeah, like I just don't see why. Yeah, like I haven't heard a good argument for it being illegal. So that's
Right,
why
yeah.
that's why I support it. So I think Canada's done great with that. There's a funny story with Canada though, right? Because it was only recently legalized, like last week or something like that. Was like the first day that it was completely legal. And I heard two funny stories. First funny story was they actually ran out of marijuana because because a bunch
Not
of like the
surprised.
like yeah, so like everyone celebrated obviously by like smoking. They like just completely ran out, and they're still sort of running low. So that was one story I heard that was really funny. Then the other story I heard was people were ringing the cops saying, there's someone with a joint like smoking, and they're like, yeah, we know it's legal now. Like we can't do anything about it. And I found that story pretty funny. And so, like, I think it was the Toronto Police Department had to put out like a message saying, "Stop ringing us about people smoking marijuana. It's legal now." Like,
They must have been trolling, right? Like, who even calls that up anyway? Like, even if it was
yeah,
illegal, do people actually call up the cops saying they saw someone smoking a joint?
yeah, people do it.
That's
It's
so weird.
stupid. It's stupid, but people do it. That's sort of the. I mean, do you have anything to add to my big long rant about marijuana?
Nah, nah. I think you
No?
said everything. It all makes a lot of sense.
Yeah?
Well, actually, what about? Hold on. I'll bring up the argument that I've heard.
Yeah.
That
Let's
people
see if I
say,
can debunk it.
yeah, I can debunk it. I mean, which
Okay.
is people saying that marijuana is a gateway drug, meaning that if you start
That.
on marijuana, that you just move on to other things, um, which is a perfectly reasonable argument to ban alcohol as well, right? It's exact. I mean, you can.
Yeah.
It's the double standard, right?
Exactly.
Alcohol's just as
Yeah.
much a gateway drug as marijuana. Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with the drug itself. You just need to not get addicted and drink responsibly or whatever. And I've also heard that, like, I don't know if this is true for everyone, but that people who smoke like tobacco might only smoke because they enjoy smoking marijuana, but because they can't get that all the time, they turn to tobacco, which isn't nearly as good, but
Oh.
they just want to have that
Oh wow.
feeling, I guess. Something that I've
Yeah.
heard, which was interesting, I thought. So
Yeah.
actually,
Yeah.
which actually made, instead of like, this is, I guess, is an argument more for banning smoking, which is that, oh, if you start smoking, then you'll get into weed, which actually for a lot of people might be the other way around, that they don't actually want to smoke. It's only
Yeah.
because they try weed that they want that.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah. Do you have thoughts on the whole gateway drug argument?
Yeah. So you mentioned one of the counter arguments. The other counter argument is that actually the majority of people who um smoke marijuana for a bit and then they just stop. Like they don't move on to harder drugs. So it's sort of been proven to be false, you know? Um
Right.
yeah, so yeah, the whole gateway argument is just absolute bollocks, I reckon. Um,
Yeah. I mean, it would be such a
yeah,
small percentage of people who, for that,
who
it might be
do,
true.
yeah, yeah. But using it as a blanket statement is just
Yeah, it is dumb because
it's
like
misleading and wrong.
it's like it's not just like with this one case with marijuana. Like it's with everything. Like you got to use it responsibly. Like you're not going to ban driving because people can die. Yeah, you're not going to ban. Not going to ban like builders from using hammers because some guy used a hammer to kill someone. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah,
we
yeah,
have these drugs and these tools, and if you use them responsibly, then that's fine. You know, just saying that it's a gateway drug is just assuming that people are going to be irresponsible, which
Yeah,
is not fair.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like I said, it's a personal. It's not only is it a personal choice, but it's a health concern and not a criminal concern, and so we should look at it from that perspective.
Yeah.
So, sorry. Um, though New Zealand, which is where we're from, in case you didn't realize before, um, is at the moment it's because of the Green Party getting part of the Greens coalition deal with Labour was to get a referendum on marijuana legalization.
Oh, really?
And that's set for 2020 at the latest, at the 2020 election, but it could be before that.
Okay.
So New Zealand may potentially join the party. So
That's
obviously,
interesting.
I think it should be yes. Ben, from my gathering, it's yes, but you don't really care that much. Um,
Oh,
something that
right.
should be
Yeah.
something that's of note though is now I'm just getting up the actual the exact numbers of it of the referendum, but there was a not a referendum, sorry, a
Survey?
um yeah, a poll. That's the word I was looking for. Um, there was recently one done by One News, I believe it was. Should I just tell you straight out of the gate the results, or do you want to,
What do you want me to
um,
guess?
or do you want to guess?
What is the question?
So do you think the personal use of marijuana should be legalized?
Oh, and so I'm trying to guess the percentage who said yes.
Yeah, just guess the percentage that said yes.
I'm going to say 56% said yes.
Oh, close, but no cigar. Um, Forty-six percent.
Said yes.
So
Damn.
46% said yes. This was the breakdown. 46% said yes, 41% said no, and then 12% said don't know. And then they have a disclaimer here that says percentages have been rounded and do not add to 100%, which doesn't make sense to me,
What?
but that's okay. 87 plus 9 is. Hang on, I'm doing math. This may take some time. It adds to 99%. How do you get
Okay.
99? How do you do
Because
a
they
thing
rounded
and get?
down some of the numbers. So
Oh,
like
okay.
for example, if it was actually 46.5% and 41.5%, they rounded those two numbers down. So
Right.
you got rid of a whole percent. Yeah.
Yeah.
They could have
So
just rounded one of
so
them
that was
up.
the yeah. So that was the
It must have
result
been they
of
must have all
the
been like point 0.3 something. Point 0.3 or point
yeah.
0.4, point 0.2 around there.
Um
Because they would have rounded them all
yeah.
down. They could be less than 5. Anyway,
Yeah.
we don't need to talk
So
about
that was
maths.
that was so that was the result of a recent poll done. So if things went that way, it would look like it would actually get legalized. And I personally think in New Zealand it's going to get legalized within the next like 5 to 10 years. Um,
Really? I mean, don't you think?
yeah,
Oh, wait. If you're saying the referendum, if that happened in 2020, how long would it actually take for the law to be changed?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. But so Labour said obviously that they'll do it, depending on the referendum, and then National, who's the opposition, would have said that they would honour the referendum. So if they got into power, um, for the next term, in 2020, they would honour the results if it was
Okay.
um to get legalized. That's our main topic done.
Yeah.
So now we move on to our next topic. Ben, do you want to introduce that topic? I mean, that segment,
Yes,
rather.
I would love to. All right. Yeah. The next segment of the show is.
What you doing?
And this is the segment of the show where we talk about what we've been doing, what we've been watching, what we've been reading, and what we would like to do, watch and read, and all those things. Um, so me, basically, I've only watched one thing this week, and that's an entire season of Daredevil, Daredevil season 3, which has been absolutely incredible. I recommend everyone, if you haven't seen Daredevil, go watch it right now. This season, yeah, really lifted the show up for me. And I'm gonna actually amend my top 5 TV shows because this is so good. Season 3 is now placed all of Daredevil into my I'm gonna say number 4 slot.
Oh wow.
No. Okay, it's hard to decide between BoJack Horseman and Daredevil. Maybe I'll put it at number five. But Rick and Morty's out of my it's out of my top five now. Daredevil's a much better show.
Wow.
Um, yeah,
Big
yeah. Okay, I'll put it at
call.
number five. I'll put it at number five. There's one episode in this show, which is now one of my favorite episodes, probably my second favorite episode of all television ever that I've seen. And I would say the season itself is one of the best, probably the best single season of television I've ever seen. Um, yeah, there was one episode where I was literally hyperventilating, and I googled the definition of hyperventilating so that I wasn't describing that wrong. That's literally what happened. It was so tense, and there's some real gut punch emotional moments as well. It's just everything you need is in that season. So watch the show, and if you don't, a lot of people are like, oh, it's a Marvel show. I don't care about Marvel. Everything's Marvel. Blah blah blah. Don't think of it as a Marvel TV show. Just think of it as its own thing. Watch Daredevil season one. Watch Daredevil season two, and then just Google what happened at the end of Defenders, because you don't need to watch the show. Just Google what happened, and then you can go into season three. Um, yeah, brilliant, brilliant show. And it kind of makes me sad that all the other shows aren't nearly as good, except first season of Jessica Jones, basically. First half of Luke Cage season one, like that's the only other good stuff that there's really been top notch. On the Punisher, actually, I always forget about the Punisher, but that was a really good season as well.
Yeah.
There was just a lot of lack of foresight from the Marvel TV people, and that they hired some really great writers and filmmakers to do the Daredevil show, and didn't put much effort into the rest of it, especially the Defenders, which was a huge letdown. I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was, for the whole them coming together into one show, but the story and everything kind of just went, yeah, a huge disappointment, because you can see the potential and the quality that they can do because you've seen it in the shows that are good, but then the show it just makes it confusing as to why they don't have this consistency. You know, one thing that's so great about the Marvel movies, they might not be the best movies in the world, but they're hugely consistent. And if anything, they're on a slight incline upwards, I'd say. Yeah, they are, yeah, they're hugely consistent because they have one man, Kevin Feige, who runs the whole thing and makes sure everything flows into the next thing. He plans out everything and all this interweaved connectedness. But I feel like they don't have that at Marvel TV, or at least they don't think about it well enough, especially at least on the Netflix side. Um, yeah, in fact, all of the Marvel TV shows, even outside Netflix, aren't that great. I mean, they're average at best, I'd say. And yeah, it's kind of disappointing. So yeah, that's my little rant on the Marvel TV thing. But I really hope they at least do a season four of Daredevil. They're doing a third season of Jessica Jones and a second season of Punisher. But just like last week, they cancelled Luke Cage and Iron Fist, which I did talk about last week actually. So who knows if they're going to do another show with those two together? And it's really hard to know. I think Netflix is probably going to treat Daredevil, at least treat the successful shows, as just another show that's successful and kind of treat them separately. I feel like because Defenders wasn't good enough, I don't know if they can afford to do another one. They're probably not interested in doing a show that people aren't going to watch. They really just only care about the numbers. So that's probably how
Right.
it's going to go. And we'll just get the good shows that remain. And maybe after these next three seasons, it might be it. Might be no more. I don't know. I also have to say, a really good thing about Daredevil being part of this universe is that the three seasons have been such huge time periods away. Like the first one was 2015, and I can't even remember when the second one is, but it's 2018 now to get the third season. Like, wait, am I just really bad at counting, or is that actually only 3 years or 4 years? I think I'm just really
Uh,
bad at. I think I'm just really bad at counting. Maybe it's. I feel like it's been a long time. I feel like it's been more than just 3 or 4 years. That's weird. Ignore
I
that.
don't know, man.
I obviously can't do math very well. But yeah, they do feel like events, these Daredevil seasons, whereas the other ones just feel like, yeah, yeah, alright. Yeah, and that's all I watched. And what am I going to watch? Obviously, The Good Place is still going. I haven't watched another episode this week because I've been doing Daredevil, but I'll probably catch up on that. And then I want to watch the Dragon Prince, which if you haven't heard is a animated TV show on Netflix by some of the writers of Avatar: The Last Airbender, which I'm interested in watching because I've heard good things. Uh, so yeah, and it also stars Jack DeSena as one of the main characters. He played soccer. He's Jack from Chris and Jack, the YouTube channel that I highly recommend. So I'm interested in watching that season. I've since it came out, I've been interested. I've just never got around to it because I had other stuff to watch, or I'd rather watch just the IT crowd because it's a great show that I just keep watching. Um, yeah, that's all I can think of.
All right. I'm up. So this week I have not been slack for once. Are you proud of me, Ben?
Yep,
I haven't
I'm
been
so glad.
slack. I've watched some stuff. All right. So now I'm gonna talk about them. Cool. So the first film I watched, they were both films. I actually watched them last night because I was like, hey, I haven't watched anything, so I need to watch some stuff. Um, so the first film I
Yeah.
watched was Leaving Las Vegas, starring Nicolas Cage. Um, so this was actually Nicolas Cage won an Oscar for this performance.
Oh, really?
And I can see why. So it's about this guy who basically loses his job and his family and everything, right? And he's like, screw this, I'm gonna move to Las Vegas and I'm gonna drink myself to death, and that's his plan. Um, so it's a real uplifting film. Matt says sarcastically.
Yeah,
It's
sounds
not.
like it.
It's really really sad actually. Um, the thing I noticed about it was it's very much a film that's a slow burn and sort of takes its time. But I think its pacing works out for itself because of the fact that it's sort of matching, the main character's descent, like very slow descent, to like killing himself basically. Um, but along the way he meets a prostitute, and they sort of have this very weird like relationship dynamic sort of going on. Um, yeah, and
Right,
it's really interesting. Like it's definitely its standout sort of thing is Nicolas Cage's performance,
right,
without a doubt, is its standout. Its sort of thing I had its major problem with was its pacing because of how slow it was. But I think it does sort of it works for it, even though it's slow. That's sort of my warning to people is it's a good film, but it's a slow burn. It definitely takes its time. So just be wary of that if you wanna watch it. But it is definitely worth a watch. The other film I watched was a sort of in a complete contrast to Leaving Las Vegas. A film called Dirty Deeds, which was like a 2005 teen sort of comedy. Um, Sort of like trashy teen comedy sort of film. Um, I was sort of bored, so I just watched it. Um, okay, here's the thing about it, right? Here's how I explain it. It's a shittier version of American Pie. That's how I would explain it. It's a shittier version of American Pie. Um,
right.
have you seen American Pie, Ben, or not?
No, I haven't.
No, you haven't. So American Pie was sort of this like gross out comedy that sort of started out that whole thing. Early, was it 90s? I wanna, might have been the late 90s, either late 90s or early 2000s. I'm not sure, which one. Stars the main stars Jess from Gilmore Girls. Gilmore Girls, by the way, is a fantastic show. Really good show, really well written show. Anyway, um yeah, so he's sort of the main character. Basically what it's about is, so main character likes this girl. Um this girl has a little brother. Little brother challenges like this jock guy to doing the dirty deeds, which is basically a set of like 8 or 10 dares that have to be done in one night. And so the main guy sort of overrides this and be like, "Oh, I'm a senior, so I have priority of doing them." in order to protect the like little guy, the little brother of the girl that he likes. And then so the film was basically this guy trying to complete all these dares, and they sort of escalate. Um, yeah, like I said, it was it's so it's not a very good film. I'll say that. You know what I mean? It's one of those films where you sort of turn your brain off,
Right.
um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you just watch them. And that's sort of why I ended up watching it, because I sort of like went in being like, I feel like I know what type of film this is going to be, and I was absolutely right. And I sort of just switched my brain
Okay.
off and I just watched it. Um, and I think here's the thing, right? Those type of films get sort of a bad rap. People are like, oh,
Right.
it's there's nothing about it. But I think they do serve
Yeah.
a purpose. Because sometimes you're in that
Yeah.
mood and you just want to switch your brain off.
Yeah.
So if you want to do
I feel
that,
that.
if you want to switch your brain off and watch a film, watch that film or watch any other film. Point is, it's okay to watch films that aren't like incredibly good and well made and all that sort of stuff. It's okay to watch a film that sort of you can turn your brain off to. Um, yeah, but I think it's a film where I would basically say watch it, but if you don't watch it, you're not missing out on anything. That's sort of
Yeah.
the main gist of it. Um, for things I want to watch, still sort of all the same films and TV shows that I still haven't watched. But I've added another one, and and I'm sort of watching it at the moment. It's a film, but unfortunately, I was watching it last night. Actually, I wanted to watch it so I could talk about it, and I've only watched part of it, which I really hate myself for, because I feel like films you should sit down and watch them in one sitting. But I
Yeah.
was I was way too tired, and I knew I was gonna fall asleep, and I didn't want to fall asleep and miss the film, because I was really tired. And this was at like 3 o'clock in the morning, so I was like, I need to do the podcast tomorrow morning. The name of the film is Call Me by Your Name. So it was
Oh yeah.
nominated for heaps of Oscars, and the last Oscars the most
Yeah.
recent this year's
Yeah.
Oscars, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Starring Timothy Chalamet. I can't pronounce his last name. I just butchered it. And Arnie Hammer. Um, it seems like a good film. It's set in 1983, Italy. And it looks beautiful from the sort of third of the film that I've seen. Um, and uh, yeah, just a real nice film, and just a beautiful film, really. Um, yeah, so that's sort of, I'm sure I'll end up finishing that this weekend, and then I'll be able to talk about it next week on the podcast. Um, I can't think of any other stuff I want to watch off the top of my head, but the list is always growing. So yeah, I'm sure I'll be able to
Yeah.
find a couple stuff to watch, and then I'll be able to talk about it next week on the podcast. Um,
I actually just forgot a couple of things that I'd been doing, um, which was I'd been playing a lot of both GTA 2, which I mentioned now 2 weeks ago on our top five favorite games. I've just got back into that recently. I've just kind of been going through that. And also Bloons Tower Defense 6. I had a friend send me a message say, you need to get better at this game. And it's because I hadn't played it in months since it was first released. So I got back into that. And that's been lots of fun. I fell asleep playing it last night because I got to such a high level. I was on like round 175. And at that point, it's just
oh
like
wow.
at that point, the game runs so slow because so much is going on that you just can't be bothered continuing. Let's say, past this point, who cares? So I just left it running itself and then fell asleep. And yeah, I think it lost. I lost it like on round 175, but the game glitched out and like crashed when like as soon as I lost. So like I technically haven't lost yet. It's just got my game saved at that point, and I can't go past it. Like I
Oh
probably could.
no.
I have enough money built up that I could probably pass that round, but I just can't be bothered. Like, there's no point. Once you get past like round 100, like nothing really matters anymore. Maybe 120 max, I'd say, is really no point. Once you get past that, I think it's called the Bad, which is the big purple balloon that is the highest level one. Yeah. Anyway, here's me talking about balloons. This probably all sounds a bit ridiculous. um, Yeah. But anyway, go play that game if you haven't played that game. If you enjoy Towers Events, enjoy some strategy. It's really great. It's really really great. That's all I had to say.
Sweet. All
Which
right.
leads us then into our next segment of the show, which is called Crunchy Comments. This is where we read all the lovely, lovely comments that we've got. And today, or first off, we got to read a comment from Kana Malone on Ambit, um, who, after the last podcast, said more like Red Wheeze Riot. Am I right? Um, which is a very hilarious comment. Which, if you haven't heard last week's podcast, was a reference to how I had a spontaneous random laughing fit at the start of the show, that was left unexplained because Tash cut out the section where I explained why I was laughing. Um,
What? Why was you
so
laughing again? Just for the
it was
viewers?
no, it was because Matt. So when he introduced himself, he said, he usually says, "Welcome to the Red Light Fight podcast. I'm Matt." But all I heard was "I'm Matt." I didn't hear the start of it, and so I just cracked up laughing because I hadn't heard the rest of it, and I just had this random laughing fit. Which, yeah, if you haven't heard my laugh, I guess it can sound a bit like a wheeze at times. But thank you for that, Kana. And if you don't know what Ambit is, it's a little wee social networking platform that you should check out. And it was created by Kana. I can't remember when, but it's we're on there, so you should check check us out. And there's lots of other places to check us out. But before we go into that, we've had a few live listeners today, so thank you very much to Hobo Supreme, believe it or not, from Russia, listening in
Really?
at 3 a.m. Um, on Saturday morning for them. And also we had Undead Sniper 948. All he said was hi. We thank you very much. But yeah, let's get through some of his comments. So Hobo Supreme told us their top five favorite fast foods. Number five being McDonald's, nice. Number four, Burger King. Number three, KFC. Number two,
Okay.
a local pizza place. And then number one,
Oh yeah.
local sushi. A local sushi place. He said there's not a
Ah.
lot of international franchises where he is.
Ah,
Um,
I see.
yeah. So he also said he noticed you had a cough, Matt, and he said get well.
Oh, thank you very much, man. Yeah, I mean, it's when you get to the like end of it, I'm sort of at the end of it, and it's just a lingering cough. But thank you very much. Hopefully I do, hopefully I can get rid of it relatively soon. I appreciate it very much, your concern.
Yeah. He also mentioned I don't know if it's a joking comment or not, but he said legalize all drugs, um, which I think most people would disagree with. But you're entitled you're entitled to the opinion.
I'll jump onto that legalizing all drugs thing.
Yeah.
I don't think we should legalize all drugs. I think we should decriminalize all drugs, which is a slightly different
Oh,
policy.
okay.
Basically, what it means is um, you can possess small amounts of said drug,
Okay.
and you won't be arrested or anything like that for it. But they still go after like dealers and stuff like that. Um, that's, I believe, what the policy is. In fact, the country that implemented that was Portugal, and they did it in early, like they did it in like 2001 or something ridiculous like that. And since then, they've seen a dramatic decrease. I mean, because before that, they Portugal had a huge heroin problem. And since
Okay.
then, they've seen less overdoses and less ODs, as well as less HIV, because obviously that's a issue with those who do heroin with sharing needles. Um, yeah, so that's a policy that I do agree with, that we should
Yeah.
decriminalize all drugs,
Hobo
because
Supreme.
again, that's that's where the
So
evidence is.
yeah, yeah. They just said decriminalize is what he meant. They blame 3 a.m. and definitely not their ignorance. Yeah. So that makes more sense
Yeah.
for sure. And they also
Yeah.
said, "I say as a straight edge who never even did weed."
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. And that's all. That's all they had to say for us today. Thank you so much for joining
Yeah.
in. Yeah. So please, join in on Twitch. Join in the live chat. We'll read your comments right here. And also
Yeah.
there's plenty of other places to find us.
Please check us out on Facebook, like us, as well as we're also on YouTube. We also have a Patreon, so feel free to support us on Patreon. Already mentioned that, but I'll mention it again. Um, what else do we have?
Yeah.
Yeah, please support us, guys. We appreciate your support so much, whether that be through Patreon or through just sharing us around to your friends. We really want to build an audience, and we'll be coming out with other types of content, sort of sketches and that. In fact, Ben and I had a meeting last week about that, and I very recently finished the first script for a sketch. So hopefully we'll be able to get a crew together and shoot that and get that out to you guys. Because I'm really excited about our future types, the future type of content that we want to make.
I also want
Yeah.
to say, yeah,
So
if you like us on Facebook, hit the following button or the like button, and then hit see first, because Facebook's really dumb, and even though you like the page, chances are you won't see us on your newsfeed. Um, so hit see first, and then you'll always see our posts at the top of your page whenever we post something. So, and turn on notifications if you want to know when we go live. So turn notifications on Twitch or on Facebook. We'll also post it there. And yeah, that's all.
sweet. All
That's all I
right,
have to say.
that's it for the podcast. We will see you guys next week, hopefully. I've been Matt.
And I've been Ben.
See you guys. Goodbye.